Okay, crazy video title. Apparently Mappa buffed everyone in Jujutsu Kaisen. The dude says, I'll prove it. Video by Intuitive. And honestly, I'm pretty sure this is technically true, especially with Kuroroshi, the cockroach that nobody invited. I just remember watching some random JJK video, and I'm pretty sure Kuroroshi was basically upscaled in the anime in Sendai Colony. And that, he was just a weaker cockroach in the manga.
What you're seeing on screen is a feat. Simply put, it's a display
Yep,
of
bro, something that the anime community doesn't even know about, bro. Like, some people just go purely based on statements in narrative, and it's kind of stupid.
power. It shows what a technique is capable of.
Especially, like, the One Piece community with all these agendas. They were calling Shanks a rat. They called Mihawk a painter and all that BS.
And what the character themselves can do with that technique. But what's interesting about this scene is that it didn't exist in the manga. Having the most ambitious director with the most talented team of animators working in the most...
Yeah, Gosho Zono has been glazed like hell. I think he's just really great at like rotoscoping and whatnot. Again, he worked on the entirety of JJK season 3, and it's been looking good, so he deserves the glaze.
prestigious studio to date gets you the best anime adaptation of the decade, but the byproduct...
I feel like my personal favorite, honestly, like, I get Yuta versus Sendai Colony was cool, but I really just loved Yuji versus Higuruma, because I feel like I truthfully just do prefer good writing over like action, if that makes sense. Sendai Colony had good writing too. I just feel like, Yuji and Higuruma was clearly better. But like, I feel like this is also a reason why I might personally prefer even like Chainsaw Man over JJK a bit. Don't get me wrong, JJK has peak writing as well, and the action scenes are good, but I really just loved the themes that Chainsaw Man explores and some of the relatability with Denji. And Chainsaw Man doesn't even have good fights in my opinion. So the fact that I just read the manga and the fact that I even compare, Chainsaw Man to JJK when Chainsaw Man's fights aren't even that good in my opinion just goes to show I really do believe Chainsaw Man's writing is just another level personally. But it's Fujimoto, so of course. Excluding the part 2 ending or the overall ending. The ending of Chainsaw Man manga was trash. But back to what I was saying, Yuji versus Higuruma just hit different. We got Higuruma's backstory, we got his character development, he became his true self again. He's a good guy again, he got out of his depression and all that, and he was just shouting like humans are weak and ugly at the start, and now he's finally like, oh, Yuji's actually different. There are some people with empathy.
is that sometimes characters get
and most importantly, accountability.
added feats, and Mappa doesn't do sometimes. Whether to improve the flow of a fight or to simply flex on the viewer, every side or major character gets their own power-up, and in this video, I will record each one. Executioner against the executed. Yuta Okotsu, a second year who is second in strength only to Satoru Gojo of course, is sent out to execute Sukuna's host. Narratively, this fight is written to be a stomp, but if
Yuta was on such major BS when in the manga, well, even in the anime, but Yuta was on such like BS when he said when Hikari gets worked up, he's even stronger than me. Like, bro, that was just Akutami trying to troll the fan base. Hikari is nowhere near Yuta's level, bro. It's not even close.
The one getting stomped is your own protagonist, you at least have to make it believable.
Hikari is a simple punch merchant. Okay, he has infinite cursed energy with Jackpot, and he's basically immortal, and can spam RCT, reverse curse technique. That's cool, but like, it's just still not that big of a deal, bro. Like, Yuta would just mid-diff Hikari.
Yuta is strong, but how strong he really is, we only find out in a standalone movie. For those who haven't watched it, what you first need to do is establish presence. But Yuji just fought and won against something arguably scarier than a human sorcerer, so to really sell the despair, Shota Goshozono had to emphasize something else.
Mahito was like Mahito was probably like the scariest villain in JJK, bro. He was just Mahito was truly disgusting, honestly. Um, what a great antagonist. He was hated by like the majority of the fan base. Like everybody kind of hates Mahito. Even I hate him. I like his character though. Like his writing is incredibly good. But yeah, he's just completely immoral.
During this entire anime exclusive sequence, Yuji doesn't make a single
Like I get it. Yeah, it's natural for Mahito being a curse. Of course he wants to consume humans and, kill humans and whatever, but like, he has a brain. He still kind of understands what he's doing.
forward movement. At his feet, Yuta can now propel himself using his own curse energy, effectively gaining flight. When fighting a boss,
Oh.
it's important to at least know you have a chance, but when Yuji looks at Yuta, he doesn't even see a health.
Yeah, there are all these weird minor feats or details. I usually gloss over them. Like, I feel like it's not a huge deal, but like, technically, I don't think you should be able to like fly with cursed energy or whatever. But like, I get why they have to do that, like, for the anime, if that makes sense. Yeah, it, it's technically an upscale.
Neither of the two flashbacks give any power-ups to Yuji. Not that flashbacks ever work that way in this story.
Bro, the only way you're gonna get a power up from a flashback is if you're Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. Tanjiro, bro, y'all troll the hell out of Tanjiro, and y'all call him like a flashback merchant, because he always just remembers his dad, his old pops doing the freaking sun dance, the sun breathing dance, whatever it's called, Kamikagura. I don't know. But he just randomly gets stronger after. We even saw this in like Infinity Castle. Tanjiro, I think he got a flashback, and then he learned the selfless state or whatever, or the see-through world. One of those two. Whenever he was fighting Akaza, I think it was the selfless state. I don't think he gets see-through world until like maybe movie 2 or 3.
Youngest brother, oldest brother. Narratively, this fight is meant to be a lesson. Naoya despises his siblings, and so even though Chozo has to fight him to the death, he can't help but impart some wisdom. The weight of responsibility can make or break a person, and Chozo doesn't break.
なぜ俺がしぶといのか聞いたな。教えてやる。
In the
Like, even in these little moments, the way that Choso's just kind of talking to Naoya about what an older brother is meant to do and just be and represent, an older brother makes mistakes so that he can lead his younger brothers on a better path. It's just like, I see why JJK is so mainstream. It balances everything perfectly. It's not even super deep like some Naruto, on some Naruto timing, like with Pain or Nagato talking about the cycle of hatred and whatnot. It's not even like as deep as Naruto with like some villains just like Obito Uchiha, Madara Uchiha in Pain and Nagato, but like it still is just deep on a general level. Like the writing is good. It doesn't need to be top tier like on the level of Naruto or Attack on Titan or Death Note. It's just good. It feels like JJK is just like a slightly worse Hunter x Hunter. Like slightly worse Hunter x Hunter with like better pacing. Like it's just, if you can't see why JJK is mainstream, I don't know what's wrong with you.
manga, this move is used as a screen to distract Naoya and hide Chozo's next move. It's nothing outstanding, and as Naoya himself notes, it's a slow attack. Naoya doesn't say this line in the anime, and the reason is simple. Chozo's attack is not slow. Naoya's curse technique, projection sorcery, allows him to make 24 movements per second, making him extremely fast and letting him continuously build that speed if he chooses to reactivate his technique. This is exactly what happens later against Maki. In the manga, it's stated that he surpasses subsonic speeds, meaning he's moving at least 650 miles per hour.
Yeah, since we're already mentioning the manga, and honestly, everybody's kind of been spoiled in terms of JJK. Like, Naoya's domain expansion, Cursed Naoya's domain expansion, freaking, bro, so overpowered, man. It affects you on the cellular level if you break whatever path you set out to do. Like it's so broken. Um I would probably put Time Cell Moon Palace like right behind freaking probably right behind um Infinite Void, um and maybe like Idle Transfiguration. I personally think now Time Cell Moon Palace is tech like the effect is better than even Sukuna's um what's it called, Malevolent Shrine. Like just the sure hit. I know Malevolent Shrine is an open domain or whatever, and an open barrier, but in terms of just the effect, like Naoya's is extremely strong.
For context, that's the speed of a commercial plane. In this scene here, we can see Naoya desperately accelerating, so if Chozo's blood wave is right behind him and even grazes him at the very end, that blood has to be moving just as fast. Mappa gave Chozo a wide area transonic attack, and in return, Chozo gave the Zenin a costly lesson.
答えろやカス呪術も使えん呪霊も見えん
Say what you will about Gege's writing, but the guy can really execute a revenge story. Generational oppression and trauma culminate into a massacre, all because the Zenins messed with the wrong girl. Narratively, this episode-long fight is written to be karma. This is the first and last
I mean, Maki was just doing what Toji should have done a long time ago.
Mappa downscale for the rest of the season. In the manga, the Kukuru unit bloodbath lasted a total of 5 pages, and after we multiply this by the time an average JJK fan reads a single page, this amounts to approximately 5 seconds of time passed. But in the anime, this bloodbath lasted a grand total of 2 minutes and...
Honestly, I don't blame Maki for taking it personal, considering, you know, her twin sister Mai literally did end up dying. I get why she took revenge, but it just goes to show how apathetic and like, I don't want to say emotionless, but how apathetic Toji kind of was towards the Zenin clan. Like he didn't care about any revenge BS. He was just like, I just don't want to be near you guys. I just don't want to hang out with you. Like never show me your face again. I don't want to see you guys. It wasn't even some like revenge or hatred stuff. It was just pure apathy.
23 seconds. Pure psychoflex and even a direct homage to one of the most iconic movie scenes. Still, an anti-feat. Because after some complicated calculations, Maki's power in the anime comes down to be 2,400% lower.
Wait, so Maki got nerfed in the anime? Bro, this is my first time ever hearing anti-feat
Than her manga counterpart. And yet, it's way more than enough. In the manga, Nobuaki died almost instantly at the same time as Chojo.
How do you even remember this guy's name? Who is this? Bro's just a random NPC. How do you know his name? No Nubakutai? What?
In the anime, Nobuaki gains the ability to send multiple stabbing attacks in the direction of his choosing, although he still dies pretty fast.
Ooh, bro, that was brutal. Maki literally ripped out the dudes. Oh my god, that's brutal.
Jinichi Zenin got the weirdest treatment this season. There's a moment in the manga where Maki was about to break Ranta's paralyzing gaze, and as soon as it cracks, Jinichi gives Ranta a concerned look, which gives Ranta time to warn about Maki being the second coming of Toji. The anime mistimes this completely. Instead, the entire time he's dilly-dallying to Maki's location and only turns back when he's literally right next to Maki, which, to the viewer, looks like he just stopped war farm. Oh, and added feat. Manga Jinichi could destroy perhaps a few houses, but in the anime, this is a whole town, right?
Yeah, power scalers are gonna be mad that you know, JJK's manga and anime are inconsistent.
I mentioned this fight at the very beginning, but if you recall, I only bring
The subtitles though.
up the manga version of it. That's because anime Naoya gets, you could say, favorable treatment. During his final clash against Maki, Naoya tries to outsmart her by feinting an attack so he can keep stacking his speed behind her. Now, in the manga, Naoya does a U-turn just about 50 meters away from Maki, but in the anime, he takes a different route. This is a real location, It's a top-down view of the Daruma Pass in Kyoto that is flipped horizontally. I traced the path, took the distance, and divided it by the duration of the clip. Remember how in the manga Naoya reached subsonic speeds? Well, Mappa gave him supersonic speeds, which, for context, have only been reached by the Phantom. It's actually way more insane. Because if you paid attention, in this moment, Naoya activated his power by tapping Maki's shoulder, setting off a 1-second timer for her, and by proxy himself. Which is
Wait, that's actually kind of crazy though. So did Naoya, was that technically like a half, at least, was that like a speed blitz in a way? Because like, I'm still surprised Maki kind of just let him touch her shoulder.
what Maki used to time her counterattack after figuring out his power. This 6-second clip is actually in slow motion. What this means
Maki actually has some pretty good battle IQ if she figured out his curse technique like so quickly.
is that Naoya's true speed is
I'm not even trying to like overglaze Maki, but low-key, that seems like something Sukuna would do. That seems like Sukuna battle IQ level in a way. Immediately figuring out an enemy's curse technique or how it works. It's pretty smart.
calculated by dividing the path distance over 1 second. Mach 20.
Even the first time Sukuna fought Gojo in like episode, what was it, episode 1? Like whatever, like whenever like Gojo said, let me fight Sukuna for 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. Gojo teleported behind Sukuna and basically just like punched him a bit, and then Sukuna was in the air and he was thinking he's extremely fast, like question mark. He was questioning, oh, Gojo's extremely fast, but then he was like, no, that's not it. And when Sukuna said, no, that's not what it is, I'm pretty sure he was already thinking Gojo's probably doing something with blue, or he's doing something to like increase his speed rapidly, or like teleport or whatever.
2 is the speed rockets accelerate to in order to reach low orbit. An attack at this speed would demolish anyone unlucky enough to get hit by it. And conversely, running into an indestructible punch at this speed would be just as bad. That is to say, you can't run from karma.
Well deserved, Naoya.
Maki overpowered her clan with muscle, but Megumi and Panda had to use their brains. Their fight against Kirara is one of the rare fights written as a puzzle. Kirara's power is based on the Southern Cross.
Bro, low-key, this is random, but I wonder what Naoya would do if he met Kirara, or like if he knew the overall context of Kirara. Like, what would Naoya just even say to Kirara? Like, what would occur?
Constellation. If approached out of order, objects marked with different stars get repelled, but are pulled together if they're marked with the same star. Added feat. Kirara can propel forward by continuously throwing and pulling herself to any object marked with the same star as herself. A creative feat made possible with a creative technique.
Okay.
But
yeah, I was a little confused in the anime when Kirara was just like throwing the pennies or throwing whatever, just doing whatever. Overall, Kirara's curse technique isn't really too complicated when you actually just kind of watch. Well, you do need to watch a video on it probably, but it's really not too complicated. It's kind of like Gojo's Infinity.
sorcerers are more old school. Yuji's encounter with Higuruma, while not as complex, made up for it with spectacle. And even though it oozed with style, the fight didn't happen just for hype and aura. From the very beginning of the season, it's made clear that Yuji has been consumed with guilt over innocent deaths that he thinks he's responsible for. So, to fight a sorcerer who embodies the judge and executioner can only mean one thing. This is, narratively and literally, a trial. And the Japanese court system is notoriously harsh towards defendants. But how do you convey that to a shonen reader?
Dang, that's effed up, man. Yeah, it's just society. Nothing you can really do. I mean, you can try and change the court systems a bit, make it more fair and all that, but ultimately, yeah, you can't change the entire world. It's tough.
One way is to make the prosecutor a genius. Within 12 days of awakening his curse technique, Higuruma gained such high proficiency in curse energy control that he could be compared to a grade 1 sorcerer. Before Yuji even met him, Higuruma had already slaughtered countless curse spirits and at least 20 sorcerers. But his anime version takes it to another level. Added feats. Higuruma is martially proficient. In contrast to his manga counterpart, Higuruma doesn't only rely on his gavel for offense. Instead, he's able to seamlessly combine kicks.
Bro, Higuruma went crazy when he was just throwing his gavel like straight at Yuji, and Yuji was just running across the railing near like the top of here or whatever. Like Higuruma was just spam throwing it. It was insane.
Between his attacks to overwhelm a guy whose whole thing is close quarters combat. This is
Yup, right there.
Higuruma's new move. In the manga, it's just a useful utility to retrieve his gavel, but Mappa decided to weaponize this, turning it into a literal hammer machine gun.
It actually looks crazy because it feels like Higuruma's kind of like using a machine gun. Like with how fast he's throwing the gavel or the hammer, whatever you want to call it. It's just like it feels like he's using a machine gun or something, man.
How do you beat a system that is stacked against you? A system that presumes guilt before any evidence.
Honestly, you can't. If the system's against you, you're just cooked, man. Like if we're talking like real life, even anime, like you're just kind of cooked, bro. What?
Is even presented. You can't. And Yuji didn't either. By all accounts, in their final clash, Yuji lost and should have died, but is instead spared by Higuruma.
Yeah, he got lucky. Like I guess the key to, you just need like moral people. If it was literally what's the name of Higuruma's freaking Shikigami? If Judge Man, the like, you know, the woman Shikigami, whatever, you know, the actual judge, the black and white thing. If that's what like got the executioner's sword, 100% it would have just poked Yuji, and Yuji's story would have ended right here. But it's because ultimately Higuruma, a human, was the one given the executioner's sword. So ultimately it's still up to Higuruma and his brain, his mindset, his morality, you know, his justice. But yeah, if justice, if the justice thing got whatever, then yeah, it 100% would have just stabbed Yuji with the executioner's sword.
It's an outcry from Gege to us that shows a world that could have been. Verdict, not guilty. Now, this next sentence you might not believe, but the greatest spectacle of the season, the Sendai Colony four-way clash, did not have a single added feat. It was just an exceptional adaptation that faithfully elevated the source material into absolute cinema. Wait a second. Using a domain expansion.
Oh lord. Yeah, people simping over Uro. I mean, I understand it.
Will exhaust the user's curse technique, forcing them to fully recover it first, with the exception of... This is one of the most consistent Jujutsu rules in the story. Uro's ability manipulates surfaces, which is what allowed her to hide her body with her own technique. Gege accounted for her technique being exhausted after a domain clash.
And ironically though, actually, I feel like between the Uro might have the best writing out of the actual like Sendai Colony deadlock. Obviously, we're not even gonna mention Dhruv Lakdawala because he didn't have any screen time, and he's kind of a complete statement narrative merchant. He's technically special grade because he took over the archipelago of the Wa period or something like that. But like, we just didn't get to see Dhruv, so we can't say he has better writing than the other three contestants. Kuroshi, people kind of just meme him. Like, people do like Kuroshi as, well, technically her. Kuroshi, to do parthenogenesis and create a second cockroach, technically that's more common with female cockroaches. So a lot of JJK fans, and even myself, kind of forget that Kuroshi is technically female, a female cockroach. A lot of JJK fans actually think Kuroshi is just like a dude with the festering life sword or whatever. But the main point is Kuroshi's more of a meme character. In terms of actual depth in writing, it's really just between Uro and Jane Juliet or Ryu Ishigori. Ishigori, we get a backstory on him. He said he met a nice woman. He said he's, you know, fought some guys with real backbone or whatever. Ultimately, he just didn't feel fulfilled. And yeah, honestly, his writing isn't even like that deep. I still like everybody in Sendai Colony as characters. I think their writing's like technically good, yeah. But like in terms of Ryu Ishigori, all he really wanted was just like a strong opponent. He's kind of just like Kashimo at this point. Um, you can say Ryu has the best writing. I'd probably just argue Uro because I just feel like there's some depth with her being part of the Fujiwara, and then honestly, suffering kind of does build character in a way. Uro has like suffered her entire past life or whatever because she just was like a servant to the Fujiwara clan and whatnot. And then just her interactions between Yuta. Um, I think Uro also her squad went up against Sukuna, I believe, right? Uro's ninja squad, she was like the captain of her squad or whatever, and I think like she fought against Sukuna at some point in time. So technically I would just give the best writing overall to Uro. In terms of who's like the most entertaining character though, I'd probably have to give it to Kuroshi. There's like way too many memes about him.
You can clearly see it being deactivated in the manga, but in the anime, Uro ascends beyond Biggie's power system. She's able to keep up her technique at the bare minimum, just enough to cover her body.
Bro, I did not expect Yuta to do that low key. At least he ended up, just saving her and Ryu at the end, giving her RCT. But I just did not expect Yuta to literally just like jump kick her out of nowhere. And then Kuroroshi's also already ready to use his festering life blade and spawn eggs basically within Uro's arms. And then Rika at the end literally bites her arm or whatever. Bro, that's so unfair, bro. I kind of feel a little bit bad for Uro because it's like you get kicked by Yuta, and then literally straight after you have Kuroroshi with his freaking overpowered weapon, the festering life blade. And then after that, well, Rika, steals your curse technique, consumes your arm. And then to finish it off, Ryu Ishigori shoots a granite blast point blank range at Uro. Bro, come on. Y'all are mean.
It's a surprise.
And then, bro, Uro, because she used her domain expansion, Uro couldn't even use the freaking... Because Uro's curse technique was burnt out after using domain expansion, she couldn't even freaking use sky manipulation to just get Kuroroshi to, like, F off.
Feat for a side character Gege himself forgot about. I wish someone out there expanded on her lore, but I digress. This whole video, while made for fun, clearly shows Mappa's deep passion for the series. Any upgrade someone gets is completely in character. Every new perspective shot immerses you completely. The score perfectly complements the visual. It's the best.
I can't believe we literally had Josuke from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4 basically in Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, everybody was saying Ryu Ishigori, Jane Juliet, whatever name you want to call him. Everybody was saying this guy is a freaking JoJo's character, and I low-key agree. Like, even just the physique and everything, it's just JoJo's vibes, especially with his freaking pompadour hair. It gives off, Josuke vibes, Part 4 main character of JoJo's.
Best adaptation of the decade, but what's more, it's not even the peak of the story. 2027 can't come soon enough.
Hashimo's brutal. Let me just go back 5 seconds. He's brutal.
But what's more, it's not even the peak of the story.
Kashimo, like, oh my god, man. He's like... It's crazy that Kashimo's human, because with how bloodlusted and low-key kind of just evil and psychopathic he is, like I get it. It's because he's battle-hungry, but he's still kind of like evil and kind of gives off a little bit of a psychopathic vibe just with, the brutal way in which he defeats people or whatever. He low-key kind of reminds me a bit. He's similar to freaking like Sukuna and Mahito. Honestly, he reminds me of them in a way. And the scariest part is Kashimo he's human. He's just a curse user. He's like a Jujutsu sorcerer who's evil, right? Like, this dude's actually human. And if your brain, like, it really just goes to show how crazy Kashimo is ultimately, when I'm thinking his mindset, or well, his brutality is just similar to freaking Mahito, who is literally the incarnate of human hatred and evil, and Sukuna. Now, Sukuna technically used to be a human, but you know, he's just a cursed object. He's more similar to a cursed spirit than human. No, I'm not officially calling him a cursed spirit. Don't get mad at me. I'll read the manga. I know he's a cursed object or whatever. But just in terms of Sukuna's ideology, he is closer to cursed spirit than human. Easily.
27 can't come soon enough.
I'm full. Well, hey, after watching this video, I'm full. Ryu Ishigori reference. But yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't mind Mappa buffing everybody. I mean, I don't really see any huge issue with it. There is some weird stuff like Yuta technically being able to fly with cursed energy. Like, some people might interpret that as like maybe like a plot hole in a way. It's just kind of weird, right? But end of the day, in terms of like the overall story, it's not like a huge deal, you know? Like, it's not something that will literally ruin the entire anime viewing experience for Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, it's not that deep. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, he did prove it, and yeah, I'm fine with it.